I witnessed something today that I've only heard about or read about, and I actually saw it with my own eyes. We all have obviously heard of the smart gun, you know, the new wave of the future to protect us from ourselves, also to keep guns out of crazy people's hands. Have you ever heard of a RFID for a gun, or a PIT, or actually a GIT, a gun identification tag? I don't know, I've never heard of them, but maybe you have. I have seen something that basically confirms that it's true. I was at a gun counter, I was watching two gentlemen very nicely dressed, had suit and ties. One had an iPad that was fiddle of farting around on his iPad, and the other one had a day planner spread out with papers and all kinds of information. One of them was fooling around with a little black plastic cap. Like, it was like the size of a pencil eraser, and it was kind of like the shape of a split pea. And he was holding this thing and he was like pressing it up against a Glock. They were both just enamored with this Glock that the gun salesman was showing them. And they were trying to figure out where to put this plastic thing on the Glock. I'm pretty much enthralled in what they're doing, because one, you could tell that they were super unfamiliar with the firearm in any way. I mean, these guys literally had no clue how to operate it or cycle it. They were asking questions about like why the gun had certain holes in it, where, and things like that. And obviously the salesperson's obliging by answering the questions, which is cool, it's okay. But I just found it really interesting that these guys were trying to figure out a way to fit this little black plastic split pea thing onto this gun. And as I'm watching and listening, it come to find out they have a military contract with another country's military in trying to put a radio frequency ID on a firearm. That way, military or company or whatever can just scan the guns without actually looking at the serial number. They'll be able to track when the gun was serviced, if the gun is deemed defective, who it belongs to. They'll have it all at their fingertip by just scanning the gun, just wave of the wand. No laser, no barcode. Literally just like a PIT for your dog or your cat, a little pet identification tag. So you could call this a GIT tag, a gun identification tag. The thing that kind of irked me about this whole situation was, one, these guys you could tell that they had no idea what the Glock was or how it worked. They just knew that that's what the military wanted them to fit something to. Since they didn't really know anything about the Glock, you could obviously tell that they were not involved with Glock. They're literally trying to fit something that needs to be pretty much permanent to the firearm in use, in being able to be abused and neglected and not just fall off and be lost. So that you could tell that they were not involved with Glock. Glock wasn't helping them. I mean, if Glock was, they would have just made a little spot and that's where the little tag would go, and then that would be issued to whoever the buyer is. That's not the case. But it was really interesting to watch these guys that were developing something for a firearm, but really had no idea what the firearm was or how to use it or how to work it. It was almost painful watching the guys discuss how they're gonna fit this tag to the gun when they don't even own a gun. I mean, obviously they don't own a Glock. I mean, they may have guns. I can't say that. They don't even have a Glock of their own to like take to their shop or development area, their R&D. They have to come to a retail firearm distributor to just look at it and figure out how it's gonna work. I mean, they could have made that little chip and they could have had no clue what was going on with the firearm. And that's kind of scary, is that there's these yahoos out there that get these deals, but they don't really even know what they're doing. They just think that they know what's best. I don't know. I just wanted to share that story with you guys. Let me know what you think. Have you ever heard of a GIT, a gun identification tag, an RFID for a firearm? Have you ever had experience with one? I'd like to hear about it. Any of you in the military that have been like in the armorers division of your military, I want to know like how they, document and track firearms, if it's okay to know that. You guys take care, be safe, and I will catch you later.